Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah wa ala ali wa sahbihi ajma'een. All praise and thanks is due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and may the peace and blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be on our last and final messenger Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul uqdadan min lisani yafqahu qawli. Amin ya Rabb. Amma ba'd. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. You are watching Tajweed Rules of Al-Qur'an Al-Kareem. This is part 4, Read with Tajweed. In this lesson, we will be learning the Qalqalah Mechanism. It's commonly taught as the Qalqalah Rule, and very briefly it is taught as some letters that when we read them, when they have a sukoon on them, we bounce and we make a qalqalah and we bounce these letters. But inshallah, I will teach this rule, how it has been taught by one of Sheikh Ayman Swaid's students in her book, Tajweed Rules of the Qur'an. It's written by Sister Kareema Czerepinski, and I've also referred to this book quite a bit in my lessons already. Inshallah, I will write down the reference for this book in the video description, inshallah, so you can check. But this book has been written in supervision of under Sheikh Ayman Swaid, and this is how he has taught it in his book also. So inshallah, as Tajweed is a science, we need to understand that there are some concepts that need to be understood quite in a good way, inshallah, so that we can apply the rules of Tajweed and apply these qualities to these letters, inshallah, in a good way. So when we recite the Qur'an, we recite it very well and perfectly, inshallah. To understand Al-Qalqalah, we need to first understand the mechanism. Mechanism meaning how some parts work together, how something works. Okay. Mechanism for the articulation of letters. So when we speak, we are using the mechanisms Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us: the tongue, the mouth, our voice, our vocal cords. All of this are mechanisms for our speech. Our ears, when we listen, these are all mechanisms, so that helps us hear and speak. So we will be looking at how these letters in the Arabic alphabet, specifically the letters which have a sukoon and which have a haraka, and then we will be looking at the difference between them and the qalqalah letters. So inshallah, firstly I would like you to note down some terms which I will be using in this lesson, and as your glossary, if you could write this down, so that inshallah when I refer to these words you will have a fair understanding of what it means. Al-qalqalah, shaking or disturbance, and these are like linguistic meanings of these terms. Tasadum, collision of two parts, and as an example it would be when we clap. This is collision of two parts, so our two hands come together and they collide. So this is collision of two parts, and in Arabic it's tasadum. Its opposite is the parting of two parts, taba'ud, and this is the parting of two parts. An example would be when we tear a paper, we are parting it in two parts. So inshallah, have these terms in front of you so you could understand, inshallah. So bismillah, the articulation mechanism, how the sound of letters are formed in human articulation. Let's look at the non-vowled letters first. Al-huruf as-sakina. Letters other than the mad and lean letters, which have no vowels, are produced by collision, tasadum, of the two components of the articulating parts, and there is no jaw movement. So, as an example here, the letter ba, when it is sakin, the two lips collide, tasadum, bit-tasadum, with the two lips. Ab, like this, ab. You could say this, and you would notice there's no jaw movement when we say these letters when they have a sukoon. And the two components just collide, the tasadum of two components. So as an example, I would like you to say these letters with a sukoon, L, S, N. And obviously the makhraj of the letter, it depends on how much sound would be blocked. So because it's a rikhu letter, the sound flows. So akh. But there is tasadum, there is collision. In the back of the throat, you will feel a collision. So akh, akh. L, L, there's a collision of the tongue touching the top palate. L, S, N, and again the collision of the tongue, the tip of the tongue to the top palate. So the letters which are non-voweled are produced by collision of the two components. This is what I want you to understand from this, inshallah. The lean letters, the mad and lean letters, are just vibration of the throat. So we are not considering them. So the mad letters would be when we say a, u, e. This is just vibration of the vocal cords. So we are not talking about them. We are talking about the letters. Apart from those, all of them, when we say them with a sukoon, there is a collision, tasadum of two components. Alhamdulillah. Okay, bismillah. So we look at the vowel letters now. Al-huruf al-mutaharrika. Vowel letters, on the other hand, are produced by parting, taba'ud, of the two components of the articulating parts. And this is with jaw movement. Now, for example, here, we've taken the taba again. Here it was ab, collision, closed. Here, if you say ba, bu, bi, there is taba'ud, the lips open. The two lips open to produce this sound. Ba, bu, bi. The same would be for this, for ha. Ha, khu, khi. La, lu, li. Sa, su, si. Na, nu, ni. Same thing. And you will notice there is jaw movement. So when we say ba, this is opening of the mouth with the fatha. Bu, circling of the mouth with the dhamma. Bi, retraction of the jaw for the kasra. So the vowel letters are said with taba'ud, with jaw movement, and the sakina letters are said with collision, tasadum, and there is no jaw movement. And I would like you to, inshallah, understand this before you move on. Alhamdulillah. Bismillah. Qalqalah letters. There's 5 qalqalah letters. Qaf, ta, ba, jim, dal. And they are gathered in the word qutbu jadin or qudab jad. And this mnemonic is easier to memorize, like this, if you memorize it in this way. Now, these letters are special. Let's see why. If we attempt to say one of these 5 letters with a sukoon, we would find the articulation point closes completely, and that it causes an annoyance in the articulation mechanism. Now the reason is these letters, qaf, ta, ba, jim, dal, are letters of shidda and they are letters of jahr. So when we say them with a sukoon, I want you to say them with a sukoon. Aq, at, ab, aj, ad. It's very difficult to say them with a sukoon. It causes an annoyance where the articulation point is. And this is what they are saying. Let's read this example. For example, say this lam yalid wa lam yulad. You are almost getting rid of the letter. You can't hear the letter clearly at all. Al-ijla, ijla. Abna'akum, yuqbalu. This is without, saying it with the sukoon. It's very awkward, very difficult. So this is due to the imprisonment of the sound and breath behind the articulation point, due to them carrying attributes of shidda and jahr. Like I just said, here is the letter of shidda. There is the closing of the articulation point, and behind here there is, because it's a closure, there's imprisonment of sound, and in jahr there is an imprisonment of breath. because they are letters of shidda, and jahr. And if you don't remember these qualities, these attributes, you can refer to my video where I have talked about these sifat of the letters, inshallah, in my previous videos. And it's very important to know these sifat because, again, they together make up the intrinsic characteristics. This is what helps us pronounce these letters clearly. So it's very important to know these characteristics, inshallah. Kaf and da are also shadid letters, also letters of shidda. But being letters of hams, the shidda is released through expelling breath through the articulation point. So kaf and da are also letters of shidda. Okay, also these letters also have a cutting of sound, like aq, at. But with da and kaf, there's hams, which is opposite to jahr. So when we say it, there's a release of air, release of breath, which makes it easy to get rid of this annoyance. So when I say this, bi akwabin, ak, fa'ambatna, bat. So the air makes it, this release of breath makes it easy to pronounce these. But with qaf, ta, ba, jim, dal, these letters of jahr, so we can't use these hams. We can't release the breath. But with da and kaf, there's hams, which is opposite to jahr. So when we say it, there's a release of air, release of breath, which makes it easy to get rid of this annoyance. So when I say this, bi akwabin, ak, fa'ambatna, bat. So the air makes it, this release of breath makes it easy to pronounce these. But with qaf, ta, ba, jim, dal, these letters of jahr, so we can't use these hams. We can't release the breath. And so that's the reason. Therefore, the Arabs, due to the annoyance and difficulty, violated the rule that sakina letters are articulated by collision, the sadum, of the two articulating parts. Instead, they said, these Qalqalah letters are articulated by separation, taba'ud, of the two articulating parts, the same as vowed letters, but by just bouncing from its place, without any movement of the jaw, of the mouth and jaw, like the vowel letters. So what is the solution? So because of this issue, so because of this, we can say, therefore, the Arabs, due to the annoyance and difficulty, violated the rule. So they broke this rule that the sakina letters are articulated by collision, the sadum of the two articulating parts. So they said, okay, like what we looked at in the first slide, that all sakina letters are said with the sadum, with the collision of two components, of the two parts, like ab, the two lips. So they said, okay, we can say this, but we need to violate this rule. We need to break this rule because it's not possible to say qaf, ta, ba, jim, dal in this way. So they said instead, they said that these qalqalah letters are articulated by separation, taba'ud, of the two articulating parts, the same as vowel letters. So ba, bu, bi, we say them by separating the lips. So they said that these qalqalah letters, even though they are sakin, they are not said with collision, tasadum. They are the same as vowel letters. They will be pronounced the same as vowel letters with taba'ud, separation. But, and this is very important, but by just bouncing from its place. So we are allowed to separate the two components, the two articulating points, but not so much that it sounds like a vowel letter. We have to say it by just bouncing. So we can't say with ba with a sukoon, we can't say abba, we can say abu. Like this, we can just bounce from its place without any movement of the mouth and jaw, like the vowel letters. So the qalqalah letters will sit in between the tasadum letters that are said with collision, and the letters that are said with taba'ud. And inshallah, I hope this is clear. So we say this with a bounce. Let's try to say this. Aqo, adu, abu, aju, apo. And remember, we are saying this just bouncing. No aqo, ada, no. Aqo. Just open, just connect and disconnect. Just bounce. And bounce is a perfect way to think about it. Just think about a ball when it bounces. Bounce, touch the floor and it comes up. It doesn't move from its place. It just touch and up. So let's inshallah try to say these. Let's see. Jim here is qalqalah. Okay, Jim here is with the sukoon. Now if I say this without this bounce, without this separation, it would be, if I say it with the sadum without separation, it would be very uncomfortable. So if I say it like this, it would be ذَلِكَ رَجْعٌ بَعِيدٌ رَجْعٌ بَعِيدٌ. With qalqalah, with this bounce. ذَلِكَ رَجْعٌ بَعِيدٌ رَجْعٌ رَجْعٌ. The same here. This is the ba with the sukoon. إِلَّبْ إِلَّ ابْتِغَاءَ إِلَّبْ إِلَّ ابْتِغَاءَ. And this qaf. فَلَقْتَحَمَ الْعَقَبَةَ فَلَقْ. If I say falaq, فَلَقْتَحَمَ is awkward. فَلَقْ فَلَقْتَحَمَ الْعَقَبَةَ قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ تَزَكَّى. قَدْ أَفْلَحَ. قَدْ, not قَدْ or قَدَ. قَدْ like this. Just if I say قَدَّ, I'm saying it like a vowel letter with a fatha. I can't do this. Qalqalah is in between. Qalqalah is in between the sakin letter and the mutaharrik letter. Inshallah, the table here will explain to you more clearly, inshallah. So let's have a look at its linguistic definition. Qalqalah linguistically means shaking or disturbance. And Sheikh Ayman Said, in his book, the way he has explained it, he has a diagram of a pot on fire, fire underneath it. So it's a pot with something boiling. So this boiling, this shaking, he refers to it in his book as qalqalah. Like this pot is qalqalah. It is qalqalah, meaning it's moving, shaking from its place. But it's not shaking from its place, it's shaking in its place, if that makes sense. So we look at this applied tajweed definition of qalqalah. It's the disturbance, and we would say it's the bouncing of the letter or rapidly disconnecting the organs of speech involved in pronouncing the qalqalah letter when it is in the state of being non-vowled until a strong accent is heard. So just like what I said before, we say this letter, we rapidly disconnect. Aqo, abu, aju, adu. Just like this, rapidly. It's just a disconnection of the two organs of speech. So let's just go over this table. Inshallah, this is a chart comparing the qalqalah to vowel letters and non-vowel letters. It's just to explain to you that how qalqalah is different to the letters with a haraka and letters that are sakina. Sakina letters are said with the sadum. So there's collision of two parts. An, al, s, collision. And there's no jaw movement. The jaw doesn't move at all. The opposite is the mutaharrika letters, which are said with the ba'ud, and there is separation. So la, lu, li, na, nu, ni. There's separation. And there's jaw movement with it. So when we say na, there's an opening of the mouth. Nu, there's a circling of the lips. Ni, there's a lowering of the jaw. And that is opposite to the sakina, like I just said. But qalqalah here, if you see, it is the same in the sense with the when you look at the articulating way. Taba'ud, it's also said with taba'ud. This qalqala letter, qaf, ta, ba, jim, dal, when it is sakin, we still will say it. We won't say it with tasadum. There won't be just collision. There will be taba'ud. There will be separation. Qa, aqqa, abu, abu. There's separation. But there's no jaw movement like the vowel letter. So it's like the vowel letter that it is articulated by separation, but there is no jaw movement like the vowel letter. Okay, so I hope inshallah this is clear, inshallah. Very important thing to note is the qalqala does not resemble a fatha or a dhamma or a kasra. And this is very important for you to note. It doesn't resemble any of them, so it shouldn't sound like a fatha in any case, or a dhamma or a kasra. It does not follow the vowel of the preceding letter, neither the following letter. So it's totally independent. It's just a bounce. And you don't look at the letter preceding it or after. It doesn't take any vowels from anything. It's just when it has a sukoon, this letter, we say it with a bounce. So what happens when the qalqala letter carries a shadda? Because we know when we say a letter with a shadda, there's two of the same letters. The first one has a sukoon and the second one will have the haraka, like in this example. So what will happen to this qaf? What will we do to this qaf? Would we say this with a qalqala? It has a sukoon. Let's have a look. If not stopping, the first qalqala letter is articulated by tasadum without qalqala, because this will merge into this qaf. If it didn't merge, it would be haqqaqat. We can't make this qalqala in this case. This is sakina and mudghama, which means this will merge into the next one. Haqqat. Haqqat. If I don't merge it, it would be haqqaqat, which is wrong. I can't say it like this. So this is, we could say, like an exception. You won't say this qaf, this qalqala letter, if it comes with a shadda and you are not stopping, you would say it without ghayr muqalqala, without a qalqala. Haqqat. The same here. There's two ba. You won't say rabbana. No. Rabbana. Tasaddaqu. Najjaynakum. Idh yatalaqqa. In this way. So this second qaf is with taba'ud, with the opening of the two parts, the articulation parts, separation of the two parts, and we use the haraka because we need to say it with the haraka, so it is said with taba'ud. This one with tasadum, this one with taba'ud. Haqqat. Haqqat, like this. So if stopping, we look at it now. So this one we weren't stopping. No stopping, we read it this way, without the qalqala. If we are stopping and the letter carries a shadda, the first qalqala letter is read with the sadum and the second letter is read with qalqala. Now we will do the qalqala because now we are stopping. So the first one here, this qaf, is sakina and mudghama. So we read this with the sadum. We haq, like this, haq, hold it there. And the second, this one is muqalqala because now we are stopping. Now the rule of qalqala will apply here. Al-haqq. Same here. Al-hajj. Al-hajj. Watab. Watab. Let's look at the last example. If a qalqala letter is followed by a mutamathil, which means the same letter with a shadda, then the rule of idgham mutamathil will be applied and then there will be no qalqala. So there's a ba, letter of qalqala, the same. Mutamathil meaning the same. This is exactly the same letter. So we have another ba. So in writing, you will see this. you will see, like here we have the dal and we have another dal, both letters of qalqala, and they come together like this. So we do idgham mutamathil. Idgham meaning merge. If you remember, we've done these terms. Again, I have these terms as I did put this as in my video description as some glossary that you should have with you, and you should understand these terms, because in Tajweed these terms come with a lot of rules. So this is a concept you need to understand. Idgham is a concept of merging, which is a term used in a lot of the rules. So we're going to study, inshallah, idgham. There's different types of idgham. This idgham, or this is the mutamathil. We have idgham mutajanis, idgham mutaqarib. Inshallah, we will be looking at each one of them, inshallah, in a separate video in the future, inshallah. So I need you to understand these terms to make it easier for yourself, inshallah. So idgham means to merge. How do we merge? We drop this letter, this ba, and we will connect the letter before, with this ba. So we will read it like وَلْيَكْتُبْ بَيْنَكُمْ وَلْيَكْتُبْ بَيْنَكُمْ. I won't read this as وَلْيَكْتُبْ بَيْنَكُمْ. No, I can't do this. This is wrong. I will drop this ba, idgham, وَلْيَكْتُبْ بَيْنَكُمْ, like this. The same thing I would do here. Drop dal to make idgham. I would read it as, would I read it like وَقَدْ دَخَلُوا? No, we will merge. وَقَدْ دَخَلُوا وَقَدْ دَخَلُوا. And I won't make this qalqala. وَقَدْ دَخَلُوا. I will merge it. Alhamdulillah. I hope that was clear, inshallah. Now, inshallah, this is the final thing, inshallah, we will be looking at. Al-qalqala is divided into two ranks. We have the lesser qalqala, al-qalqala sughra, and the greater qalqala, which is al-qalqala kubra. The lesser qalqala, this occurs when the qalqala is in the middle or end of a word. And we are continuing reading. So we pronounce the qalqala and continue reading. أطعمهم مجنون أبواب اقتربت صدرك صدرك. I've just done a qalqala on this ta, jim, ba, qaf, and this dal. So this is the lesser qalqala. The greater qalqala, qalqala al-kubra, occurs when the qalqala letter is the last letter of a word and we are stopping on that word. Whenever we are stopping on words, basically, this is whenever we are stopping on an ayah, in the middle you're stopping to breathe, or whenever we are stopping. This is when the greater qalqala occurs. Al-buruj, muhit, al-hasid, munib, al-tariq. So what is the difference? And this is a very important question, inshallah, that I want you to understand. The difference is al-qalqala kubra is more clearer and has more of a ring compared to qalqala sughra. So for example, lam yalid wa lam yulad. This dal and this dal are the same, are exactly the same. I've said them exactly the same. I didn't make this one any more heavier. I didn't say lam yalid wa lam yulad. Nothing like this. I don't do this. It's completely wrong. Lid, yalid, lad, yalid, lad. Exactly the same way. But this one sounds more clearer because it's at the end. This is the only difference. That when we say it at the end, it just sounds more clearer. Imam al-Jazari said in his poem, and this obviously the ones who understand Tajweed would know this name, would understand that, would know the importance of this scholar of Tajweed, mashallah. And it's his poem that students of Tajweed follow. And it's his poem which explains all of the rules of Tajweed. And in his poem, he said about Qalqalah, and show it muqalqal, if it is sakin, and if it is in the position of stopping, it is clearer. And that's all he says about Qalqalah. So we shouldn't make this rule into something which the experts haven't explained in that way. So overall, what I'm saying, just as a summary, when we stop at the letter, it comes out with ease, as there will be no letter after it. The only difference is in stopping. So it's only clearer because I'm stopping. Mushaddad letter and letter without shadda are articulated the same. No difference in strength of qalqalah. Now, this is a common way of teaching. In Tajweed books, you'd get when you have a letter with the qalqalah letter and it has a shadda, it is read the strongest, or it has a very strong qalqalah. But Sheikh Ayman Suwaid and also the Imam al-Jazari, I mean, their way of teaching is that this letter with a shadda is read the same. This qalqalah here would be the same. The strength would not be any stronger. So, for example, this is watab, watab. Okay, that's because the first one here, there's two ba, obviously. The first tab and this one b, watab. This b is the same as when I stop on this ba. Kasab, watab, kasab, watab, kasab, b. So this ba isn't actually stronger in any way. It's just because this first ba here, tab, it just sounds like it's a stronger qalqalah. But the idea is that we just make this qalqalah, we won't make this as tab. No, we can't do this. Watab, kasab, b, abu, like this. Alhamdulillah. Lastly, the common mistakes in pronouncing qalqalah. So the first one would be ending with letters hamza or ha. And this is a very, very common mistake. I hear this oftentimes. Sisters who find it very difficult to articulate the qalqalah, always would add the hamza or the ha. And if you do, please listen to yourself when you recite the Qur'an. If you're doing this, please try to get rid of this habit, because it's not right. It's not the correct way, and it's, subhanallah, I don't understand, but sometimes it's a natural way of them saying this qalqalah, but we have to get rid of this. So to say abwab, no, or abwab, this is wrong. Abwab, abu, you just let go. Just this bounce. You just bounce the qalqalah letter, and you connect, and you just disconnect straight away. You rapidly disconnect. The other is accompanying it with a part of a haraka. Now, if we say it with a haraka, we are saying this like a mutaharrik letter. With that, we will be moving the jaw, which is not part of qalqalah. If you remember, we just looked at when in the chart we looked at the letters. Only the vowel letters is when the jaw moves. When we say the letter with a fatha, the mouth it will open the mouth. When we say it with a dhamma, we will have a circling of the mouth. When we say it with a kasra, we will have a retraction of the jaw. It will come down like e like this. But when we say the letter with the qalqalah, there is, if you avoid any jaw movement, inshallah, you will not accompany it with any haraka. So you will be getting rid of that problem. So try to keep your jaw without movement when you say these letters with the qalqalah. So you will avoid this mistake of accompanying it with a haraka. So you can't say khalaqa. No. If you avoid moving the jaw, moving it, opening your mouth, you won't say this with a fatha. Khalaqa. qa, qa, qa. Just abu, abu. If I say aba, aba, I'm opening my mouth. Okay, and this is wrong. We will change meanings. Khalaqa, khalaqa is wrong. Khalaqa, no. Khalaqa, khalaqnakum. The next is prolonging or pausing on the qalqala letter. So if I pause, add too much length. So if I say قد أفلح, قد أفلح, no, I've added like a shadda on the dal here. No, قد أفلح. Okay, and also cutting it from the following letter. So, and like leaving a gap. So if I say tubbatum, tubbatum, no, tubatum, tubatum, like this. So inshallah, these are the inshallah things you should avoid, and I'm sure there are more mistakes that sometimes we tend to make, but inshallah we will try to get rid of them. And do read to a qualified teacher, inshallah, who can point out your mistakes and further enhance your reading, inshallah. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. This is the end of the lesson on Al-Qalqalah. I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that you have understood all that I've explained. If you haven't, please go back and watch it again. I have tried to simplify it as much as I could and give you examples in all that I could, inshallah. Maybe I could make a video on the Qalqalah, how to pronounce it. Inshallah, this is something in the future that I would be looking into, inshallah, with some visual videos and visual clips, inshallah, to make it easy for you. And any suggestion, inshallah, please you can email me, or I have my email in my video description, or you could leave in the comment, inshallah. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك والحمد لله رب العالمين.